Hello again, and welcome to the Category Mistake. I'm your host, Richard Mariello, and I hope you can hear me loud and clear compared to my last video. For some reason, my first 32 seconds on Spotify and on YouTube were silent. I checked my settings, checked the video I did yesterday on my computer, worked perfectly fine. Get on the other one, and magically it didn't work. So, living with anxiety, day 11. We're going to go with that. I think it's day 11. We're going to go with day 11. Yesterday's podcast, video, whatever you want to call it, was kind of hard for me to do. It was about church, about my faith, about humanity in general, and how we've kind of lost our connection with the two golden rules. One golden rule if you don't believe there's a God, and two golden rules if you do. Okay, pretty simple, right? And I got a lot of people talk to me. One, my pastor. Two, some of my students who went to a Catholic school. Three, other just random people messaged me. And I want to make it clear that church in general, the anxiety I'm having is probably not because of the people or the message in the church. I think it's the church as a whole, I feel, forgets its direction, and we have a bunch of believers who are in there trying to keep it in the right direction, but there's always, just like in the world we live in today, there's always that small minority that tries to push the majority in a different direction, sometimes for the good, sometimes for the bad. And I feel like that small minority is what's causing my stress and anxiety. I have probably been that small minority at a time in other places. So I can't be like, oh my God, how dare they? I'm probably one of them. So today, I'm going to talk a little different. If you know me, you know I go a little different sometimes. My anxiety today was really, really bad. And there's a reason for it. So if you watched more than 2 minutes of my videos, you'll know that I was in the military. I get my health care from the Veterans Administration, from the VA. And again, the majority of people at the VA are trying to do the right thing. They're trying to be the right people. They're trying to give the care that they need to give. But the small minority of them are making it difficult for everybody else. Okay? That's just the way it is. Now, today I went in for it's called a neuropsych exam thingy. Not thingy. The thingy is my term. Okay, that's what makes it technical. And basically they asked me a whole bunch of questions and made me go through my history. And then they tested me on how many dots do I see, and name so many, starting with letter F, name as many animals you can think of, or how many words you can think of. And it's very, very therapy, okay? And at the end of it, they're like, oh, well, you have anxiety and PTSD. I said, okay, what do I do about it? How can I make it better? I'm taking the meds, I'm doing this, and what else can I do? Well, yeah. They gave me no real suggestions. Keep going to therapy. Okay. Keep taking your medication. Okay. How do I control my anxiety, my stress, my frustration, the anger, the feeling that I get? Well, they said just don't do the things that make you angry. So I jokingly said, so don't go to the VA. They didn't think that was funny. I did. The point is, they spent almost 5 hours ramping up my anxiety on purpose to see how I reacted and how I did and how this and how this. But when it was time for the results and for action steps, they had zero. And I literally looked at them and said, why did I do this if there's no plan? Well, this just helps us so if you get any worse. I said, I don't want to get worse. That's why I'm here. Common sense, right? Do any of us go to the doctors or to anything saying, please, I don't want to get better, I want to get worse? No, that's not what you do. And so I said, okay, these are the meds I'm taking. How long should they take to kick in, like with the new dosing? Oh, the new dosing should be 8 weeks or so. That's 2 months. I'm supposed to deal with whatever this is in theory for 2 more months? That's crazy. And I think that's the problem I'm having is everyone's telling me, and has told probably some of you, hey, if you have anxiety, you have stress, you have depression, go see a trained professional. They're going to help you. What help is it when they say, hey, yeah, what you're doing is what we're going to recommend? If I thought me taking my meds and doing my therapy and everything else that I've been doing, if I thought that was working, I wouldn't have agreed to this appointment. I went to the appointment hoping, expecting more than just keep doing it, but you have a lot of anxiety and depression and PTSD, and sorry about that. If something stresses you out too much, just don't do it. So don't drive, don't hang out with my kids, don't go to church, don't get a job, don't take the dogs anywhere, don't see my grandkids, don't do anything, because if any of it causes me stress, don't do it. How is that a gosh darn answer? How is that what we pay for as taxpayers? It isn't. Okay? So, looking at it, I was thinking to myself, how many people out there have gone to normal, non-military doctors? Okay? And those military doctors say, hey, you've got depression, you've got anxiety, here's some pills. And if you say something to the stupid point of, what if I don't want to take so many pills? What if I want to get better a different way? And how many of you have heard, well, just don't do things that stress you out? Or, hey, this will work, just give it more time. How much time? They don't give you a real 8 weeks, it should start feeling better. What does that mean? I like time, date, location. Okay? A lot of us probably do. I don't like saying it should be around. No. Okay, 8 weeks. I should be better. Is it 10% better? Is it 20% better? Is it 86.3 degrees better? What is it? They don't give you any hard numbers. And it's probably because mental health and even physical health, there's always variances, okay? But I'd rather them say, normally, in about 8 weeks, you're going to feel 20% better. They don't have to say, I guarantee you're going to. No. Normally, when this happens, this is about the range. I would take that as a win. But they don't do that. Now, I don't know if civilian doctors do that because I haven't gone to a civilian doctor in a long time. Why I don't go to civilian doctor is the VA is the only health care I have. Because of my disability rating, that's what I got. Okay? Now, I'm not harping on my free health care. It's free. Not kind of. I pay taxes, so it's kind of free. Okay? What I'm harping on is doctors in general. Some of them telling you to do things like go to therapy, take your medication, eat right, exercise, but they don't tell you how to accomplish these goals in a way to make you better. Because they said today, they're like, hey, you seem to have a problem with sugar and caffeine. I'm like, yeah. How? And I said, do you have any suggestions on how to work with that? Stop eating it and drinking it. Okay. I said, okay, I've tried that. Is there another suggestion? Well, stop eating it and drinking it. It's not good for you. Okay. They're like, well, if you were smoking or doing drugs or alcohol, we'd have a program. I said, so I got addicted to the wrong things. They're like, well, no, because we don't want you drinking it. I'm like, but you have treatment for that. You just don't have treatment for what my problem is. Well, no, not really. We can put you in an addiction program if you want, But they really kind of deal with this, and I don't know how they deal with that. I've never done one for that. I don't know about all civilian jobs, but when I was deployed and not deployed, the military gave us free energy drinks. Free energy drinks and beef jerky. They loaded us up on it, They were called Rippets. We had a ton of them. We used them all the time. You can buy them at the dollar store, for gosh sake, okay? It's just pure artificial everything and caffeine. And you drank it like crazy. And that's what you did when you were deployed. You drank Red Bull, Rippets, and beef jerky. That's how you lived. And then you get home and they say, okay, all of that bad for you. Don't do it. I know you just did it for a year straight every day, every hour of every day. No more. Or they're like, hey, you need to stay up 20 hours a day because, well, people are trying to blow you up. And you got to stay vigilant. There you go. And then you get home like, okay, everything's good, just go sleep. Okay, well, I've been staying awake for a year straight. Now you want me to sleep. Okay, that's work out well. This is the sort of stuff they do in the military world. They tell us, hey, we need you to learn how not to sleep, how to always be on guard, always be ready. Even in basic training, at least when I went, they had something called fire guard. So you'd have to be up 1 hour every night and guard the door. And that way, a drill sergeant or someone came in, you could stop them. Now, if you fell asleep on fire guard, everybody got up. But everyone did it every night. Okay, it was a group, usually 2 of you, and you did it every night. It was a rotation. That's what you did. So they did that all the time, and you got used to not sleeping. You got up at the crack of dawn because that's what you did. You got used to not sleeping. You go to a duty station or you go to get ready to deploy, and you're training all day, all night, all different times. So you get used to not sleeping. Then you deploy and you don't sleep. And then you get home and you demob. And when you demob, you have to do all this paperwork and medical checks. And it could be at 8 o'clock at night or 7 in the morning, and they don't tell you till the last minute. And if you want to go home, you have to get it done so you don't really rest. And then you come home and like, okay, rest. Okay, how? How do I do that? You learn how to drive in a war zone. You learn how to drive where literally anything on the side of the road could blow up and kill you. Then you come home like, okay, everything's good. Don't worry about it. They tell you, hey, we want you to have lots of anxiety, lots of stress, so you're on your guard. And you get home and you don't know how to shut it off, and your family is affected, and your life is affected, and your job's affected. And when you talk to them about it, they say, well, just stop. How have we come to a society today where we do this not just with military, but with so many other things? We get people hooked on something. We get people used to something. We force people to get used to something, and then we just, okay, we're done, stop. How do we do that to people? And how is it okay? I went up there this morning and I already had anxiety. Why did I have anxiety already? Well, because when I went up there, I thought, okay, I'm having a psychiatrist appointment. I didn't know what it was, deep it was. And I don't like going to those because I feel like the person I'm talking to doesn't have a clue what I'm going through and they don't care. I'm checking a box for them, And then, of course, you get there, and all you are is a check of the box. So you start thinking to yourself, why did I come all the way up here? And then they're like, well, we're really going to do all of this today, and it's going to be really hard for you. But don't worry about it. You'll be fine afterwards. And as soon as you're done, okay, you're done. Go home. Now, I would think if they're going to amp somebody up with PTSD, stress, anxiety, who says, hey, driving and other things cause me stress and anxiety, they probably wouldn't say, hey, go home, go drive almost 2 hours to home, have a great day. I would think they would say, hey, before you go, do you want to chill a little bit? Do you want to cool down a little bit? Do you want some cold water? No, they didn't even offer me cold water. They said, you can go buy some water. When they're literally pumping you up and stressing you out. They're like, go, you can go purchase water because we don't have any to give you. And that's a problem. You see, I don't struggle with day-to-day things in a way where I feel like it's unhealthy. Okay. I can wake up in the morning, take a shower, and go get coffee and be okay. It's when I see things going on in the world, in my neighborhood, in my house, in my community, that make no sense. I am a person who believes if you do something illegal, you should be punished for it. Okay. That could mean coming into our country illegally. That could mean robbing a car, stealing a car. That could be lots of different things. Okay. But I also don't think that if someone's got a kid and a child and you don't just rip them apart or deport everyone and start over again. Jesus said, bring the children to me, right? We have to come to the kingdom of God like child, faith of a child. But then we get rid of the children. And we say, your parents screwed up, so hey. We don't live under those laws. And when we have a Christian government who is, in my mind, probably 80% good, but that 20% is doing things that make no sense. Like, we live in a world where we live in a country where we're not judged by what our parents did or our grandparents did. There's no generational sin. That's supposed to be done, okay? If you're a Christian, you're not supposed to believe in generational sin because Jesus stopped that, okay? If you're a person who's not a Christian, you probably don't want to be judged by something your great-grandfather did. I don't want to be, okay? You want to be judged on your merits. And if you have kids, your kids should not be punished for what you did. Hey, I came in the country illegally. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I came in here. I will work on fixing this. You can make me, you can make me do whatever you want. I can have a ankle bracelet on. I can do extra work. I can do whatever else. There's got to be a way of taking care of people like this the right way instead of just saying, your parents screwed up, bye-bye. Because if that happened, my kids would be damaged and I would be damaged because my mother screwed up a lot and I've screwed up a lot. And my poor kids would have to pay that penalty and that's not fair to them. Okay? That's the stuff that stresses me out. It stresses me out when you are working really hard, you're doing everything right, and the city government decides they're going to pass a bill at 3 a.m. that no one knows about, and you can't fix it. But it affects people like you because, you try to take care of other people. I don't like it when we have a government or that just decides to do things at 2, 3 a.m. and pass bills and add on raises and add on things that none of us agree to. But they do it anyway, and it doesn't help. It helps so few that there's no point to it. It hurts more than it helps. I don't like it when people are homeless, not because society has let them down, but because they've decided that the drugs or the beer or the alcohol or whatever they're doing is more important than their life. I have met a lot of homeless people because of my previous job. And in that time, what I realized is about 25 to 30% of them want to be homeless. They would rather be homeless and panhandle than work or get therapy and get better. And that angers me. It angers me when I drive by a guy who has a sign and says disabled veteran, and then you go and offer him help with the VA, you offer him a bunch of stuff, and then you find out he's not even a veteran, he was using the sign to get more money, and then you get pissed. But you know that if you beat the guy up or say something, it's going to go on social media, and then you're going to get in trouble for yelling at a homeless guy who maybe deserved it. Maybe the homeless guy deserved it because he was lying and not trying to do better. When I see someone with a homeless veteran sign, I say, hey, I know a guy, give him a call. Hey, I know this person, give him a call. Hey, I know a place you can go. This is all you need to do. Do you have a DD-214? If they say they don't know what it is or they act like it's not what it is, I start asking other questions. Because here's the thing. If you've been in the military, you know what a DD-214 is. Okay? It's like the only thing that makes you in the military. It is the piece of paper that makes you who you are. With a DD-214, you can get homeless services, you can get health care, you can get lots of things. Without it, you can't. And if they say, well, I don't know where it is, then I say, hey, I know a guy, give him a call, he can get you a copy. Let's call him right now, I can use my phone. And if they're not willing to call him, they don't have one. 99.99% of the time. That angers me. There are services in our state, in our country, that can help all of these people. And the ones who need the help don't get it because the ones who don't want it and don't deserve it are taking it. And again, that angers me. We have churches, empty buildings, that do nothing all week. We give them tax write-offs. We give them preferential treatment, not every church, some churches. And they're empty. We have a message as Christians to feed and help the poor, the elderly, the widows, the orphans, and we have empty rooms. Now, our church during COVID, we tried to help out schools. We gave them different classrooms. We do extra activities. We try to help out here, help out there. We're not perfect. We try. But I can tell you right now in my town, there's 20 empty buildings tonight doing absolutely nothing for the community. And that's not saying we're the greatest church ever. What it's saying is, though we have room to grow, we're trying to do better. There are 6 million churches in this country. Why do we have a homeless or an orphan problem? We have 6 million churches in this country. Why do we have 40 million kids in foster care? We have 6 million churches in this country. Why? Why is there a homeless problem? Why is there an orphan problem? Why is there a widow problem? Why is there a foster care program? Why are people going hungry? You got freaking Kenneth Copeland down south with gold-plated Rolls Royces not feeding anybody. You got Joel Osteen with a giant church in the middle of a flood not taking care of people. I don't care if you're this Christian, that Christian. I don't care if you're Jewish. I don't care if you're Muslim. Every world religion has something about taking care of those in need. Okay? The Muslims, one of the 5 pillars is taking care of the needy. Okay? Christianity, literally Jesus says to do it multiple times, and before that Moses, and since the beginning of the beginning. Judaism, same thing. Moses said it. Abram and Abraham, same person, said it. David said it. Job, through all of his torment, tried to take care of others. Noah, in all of his ugliness, was trying to save the world. Melchizedek. These people that we read about, they try to save others and help others. And we're sitting down and letting the world rot around us while we're saying, how pretty are we? We're damn ugly. So today, tomorrow, next week, next year, think about it. We have a VA service that cannot help veterans because they don't have answers to any of the questions that they're asking. I ask questions, I don't get answers. Maybe doctors in the real world do that too. We have people in cities who tell us how much money they need to support and to help others, but they're not helping anybody. We have houses of worship who do absolutely nothing productive to help others. We have some, and all those branch. Okay, some people in the VA help. Some people in the city help. Some churches and house of worships help. But it should be an easy fix. It should be. But we're human. We screw up. That's the thing that happens. I get it. But maybe it's time we change that. And maybe if we do, I can end this gosh darn video series and just move on with my life. Because my stress will stop. What do you think? Till next time, guys, thank you for watching, and have a gorgeous rest of your day.